My next guest is a Hollywood screenwriting legend, the genius behind some of the most memorable scenes in movie history. David Mamet is daring now to call out Hollywood's diversity obsession with his new book, Everywhere an Oink Oink, an embittered, dyspeptic and accurate report of 40 years in Hollywood. And he joins me now. David, great to have you on the show. I'm so happy you did this book because it needs to be said loudly. Hollywood has lost the plot in recent years at the altar of trying to tick endless boxes for diversity, for virtue signaling, whatever it may be. And it's made a lot of movies simply unwatchable. And it's also made award ceremonies unwatchable, as all the actors get forced into making these homilies and lectures and statements when all I want them to do is embrace movies.
Yeah, well, the thing about Hollywood is it's dead. And I've been around a long time, and technology changes a culture, as we see, that vaudeville was driven out of business by the movies, and the movies took it in the tank when television came along. And every time the technology changes, there's a whole new paradigm. Who are we, to whom are we appealing? Who's in charge of that? How do we keep track of it? And so forth. And so now the new paradigm is to go to downloading and streaming, so that the incredible bureaucracy, the pointless bureaucracy of the studio system, which has been around for 100 years, is now dead. There's nobody there who says, think of it this way. If somebody at Kodak said 30 years ago, geez, I'm young, you guys don't know this whole new thing called computers and digitalizing, we got to stop making film, they would have said to that person, you're out of your mind, you're fired, right? If we stop making film, our share price goes in the toilet. So the same thing is now true in Hollywood. Nobody goes to the movies anymore in the brick and mortar movie theaters, and most people are just sick to death of this garbage that's being stuffed down their throat by the people who say, buy a subscription or read a book.
I mean, when we see the issue that Disney got into, for example, with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where they decided they weren't going to have any dwarves because they wanted to tick every quota box going and stuff, the backlash to that was very interesting to watch for me. It sort of said to me that the main body of the public have just had enough of this to a degree.
Well, there's nobody making this. Everybody's making a corporate decision. So the whole thing about AI is interesting to me because that is the apotheosis of what idiots have been saying for 100 years. Why don't we just get people in a room and see what the audience bought last year and make it again this year? Wouldn't that make sense? Well, it doesn't make sense because you can't predict what the audience is going to like. Right? Because even the people who come out and say, this is what I liked, they do that because they've been asked the question. They've been turned into a critic. So even though they might say, yes, I liked this, it doesn't mean they're going to like it again next year. So what's missing from Hollywood is individual invention, which can only come from the individual, and courage to take a chance and say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do this story because it's fun, rather than I'm going to do this story because if I don't, I'm going to get fired. Who wants to watch that garbage? I get all these Hollywood screeners in the mail, and they're all a deeply felt understanding tale of a person caught between his personal idea. Who cares? Nobody cares.
What is the answer to this? I mean, is there an answer?
Yeah, there's an answer. I just made a movie with Shia LaBeouf and Evan Jonigkeit, Dom Hoffman, and Chris Bauer, and the people who made this movie also made some direct-to-downloading movies, among them The Peanut Butter Falcon, and among them Honey Boy with Shia, and also that they just made this movie called Sound of Freedom, which was, I think, funded by some Christians who made a lot of money with Jim Caviezel playing Christ. Now he plays a cop. It's a straight-up cop movie starring Jim Caviezel. They made it for $8 million. They made $250 million because they went right to downloading to people who said, you know what, heck, I'll pay money for that. This is a great business if you think about it. If you make a movie for, say, $2 million, and you download it and it makes $4 million, which you can do if you just threw it out the window, you just doubled your investment in 3 months.
Yeah.
This is that's what's happening now.